to help. We got to help each other to a certain degree, and also as African Americans, we got to want it. Mm-hmm. And that's our affirmative action. We got to be affirming what we want for each other and our progression.
Well, what you think about you know, I'll be riding through the west side of Dayton, right, and I'm always observing our community. And like, if you go out to Beaver Creek, or if you go out to
they got the flowers,
if you go out,
they water the grass,
Fairborn, whatever. I mean, they have businesses out the ass. You know what I mean? They have, it's just beautiful, man. They have like big, fine, fancy restaurants and everything.
Of course, because all they want to finance us for is a drive-through, a drive-through, a drugstore, and a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, that's all
they
got.
want to give us. That's all they want to give us. That's right. Church's chicken, you know. And if you like Church's chicken, that's fine.
Right.
You know, you get the greasiest chicken in the city. You better believe that.
Real.
You get the greasiest chicken in the city if you go get a Church's chicken. You know what I noticed too? How come when you live in the areas that you talk about, the inner city areas,
right,
in which we are alienated by the other population here, you know what I'm saying, the majority supposedly.
Right.
I want to know how come we accept this. Why do we accept this? Why don't we stop buying from these places? You hear people say, well, if you don't put money back into your own community, it won't happen. But you know what? They're only going to let you spend the money the way they want you to spend it. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at the population as a whole, we buy 70+% of all the cosmetics. We buy, as far as entertainment, movies, we spend 80+% of our money on entertainment, more than them. So we keep them in business.
Right.
And we go to their locations to do this. Now, I don't know if that's because we have alienated ourselves from our own community and our own location, you know, around our area. I don't. But we got to change this.
Well, some would argue that the black establishments are just basically inferior establishments. Like, let me give you an example.
When you have inferior money, you're going to be inferior.
Yeah, well let's take, let me play devil's advocate here. Like, let's say you go to Burger King right down here on the west side or whatever. All right, you get in line, there's maybe like 2 cars in the drive-through, right? You get in there, you're waiting about 20 minutes, you know, for one car just to go through. I mean, you go ahead and make your order. They mess the order all up. You know what I mean? They don't give you what you want. Your fries is all cold. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then you go to like one of these places in Centerville or whatever, same Burger King, or not same Burger King, but same franchise or whatever. I mean, you get your stuff within 4-5 minutes. It's hot, piping, and it's the right order and whatnot. And they greet you with a smile. Have a nice day.
Okay. Now, there are 2 things for that. Either you got lack of wanting to gain knowledge as an employee or a person who owns that business. Right. Or you've been conditioned and programmed so long that you think this is the way you're supposed to act. So you know nothing other than this. Now, I think it's a combination of the 2. I think that a lot of people young people have been conditioned and programmed so long, and then we as black people and as adults of young people have accepted it from the majority. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't blame it all on the young people. You know, those of us who had these young people, we should have actually stopped this a long time ago. And a lot of that's our fault. So now when you go to a restaurant like the Burger King here, and somebody comes in and they don't say, "Hi, may I take your order today?" And they say, "What you want?" Well, you got to remember this. They've been saying what you want the whole time at school, and then they put us on. They put it on BET, you know, MTV. There used to be a time on MTV they wouldn't even show black videos.
For real? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
now what you see is supposedly what they consider the scum of the scum, which projects a certain image to them, which does not fit the majority rule. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So now what's happening? We've been programmed to accept these things, and we think our kids are growing up thinking this is the norm, and then when we enter what they call their society is abnormal, and then you're stuck out there. So a lot of inadequacies that we see come from not only us not seeking the knowledge, but not knowing what to seek.
So what do you say to like black folks, right, that won't patronize black-owned businesses, right, because they feel that the service is inferior? I mean, I can't perp. A lot of times I get frustrated.
Oh, I do it too.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm very guilty of it.
Where I'm on the west side and the service it be towed down, man. I'm like, what's up, man?
I'm very guilty of it. But you know what we have to do. See, well, I tell you one thing we do that the man. We don't do that. The man does do. See, we don't communicate well.
Right.
See, we don't communicate to the people who own these businesses, and we don't write letters. And people think that that's not effective, but it's effective.
Right.
The pen is a mighty weapon, you know. And all the knowledge in the world, all the secrets that the man has put before us, the secrets that he's put before us, are hidden in books.
Word.
So by nature, we do not read these kind of things, and we don't understand that's the correct way to do things. And like I said, it's not because of a lack of interest, it's a lack of exposure.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we have been exposed. So consequently, if I have not been exposed, it's damn near impossible for me to expose my child. So he has less exposure than me. When his children come along,
it's a domino effect.
Oh, yeah.
It's perpetuating.
And this has been planned from hundreds of years ago. This has all been planned. It's nothing new.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand, especially during like the slave trades and whatnot. Black folks were like punished for trying to read. You know what I mean? Like
That's right.
castrated and whipped and
That's
beat.
right. That's why I get frustrated with a lot of young people about certain things. Because there used to be a time that a black man or woman could not go to a school and get an education.
Right.
You know, so I hate for us to destroy that for ourselves, because what's happening with all the crime that we are generating in our schools and the poor education that we're accepting. You see what I'm saying? We don't have to accept all this.
Right.
You know if you're not being taught well, and then your parents know. We know.
Right.
You know, we're accepting this though. So then what happens is eventually it's going to dwindle down. They're going to say, well, you know what? You don't deserve to go to school. You don't want it. You know, your failure rate is so high. Your dropout rate is so high. We're not going to keep paying for this. You hear how I'm saying? I'm saying it like they're saying it. We're not going to keep paying for this. See, everything that happens for you, they feel is a favor. See, this goes back to affirmative action. See, affirmative action is good if it's used for what it was created for. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
You know, but see, it's not being used, and it's not just used for black people, it's minority period. That includes women, that includes Asian. You know, we get frustrated a lot of times when we go to a store and you look, and Orientals have all the businesses in the hood, and we say, damn, how come they got all the businesses?
Right.
Well, you know what? You got to remember too, see, some things have been made available to them, and what I mean by that is exposure. They've been taught how to seek the knowledge to open these businesses up.
Also, them tax breaks that they get from the government ain't hurting either.
Oh, no, of course not.
Yeah, and on the education tip, right, I find it interesting that as far as religious institutions go, you know, the Catholics, Jews, and whatnot, wherever you find one of their spiritual institutions, whether it's synagogues or the cathedrals or whatnot, they also have a school that goes along with it. Now, black folks, we have a plethora of churches all around Dayton, right? But we don't have any schools to go along with those churches, like for our interests, teaching African American history or just African history, period. What's your take on that? Why is that?
Well, see, once again, it's a lack of exposure. Because what has happened, or being exposed to the wrong things. What has happened, see, first of all, we don't understand that religion is man-made.
Okay.
See, man-made religion.
Okay.
If you believe in God, Jesus, Buddha, whomever, Confucius, whomever, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
But man created Protestant, Baptist, Catholic, Presbyterian, Methodist, African Methodist. Man created that.
Okay.
So them doing that, them allowing us to do that. Here I say allowing us, and why? Keep in mind, every time I say allowing us means that's how they exposed us to something.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they gave it to us. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that's the way they exposed it to us. This is done on purpose. Believe that. They've taken a certain group of people in certain parts of the country, or when they first start so-called letting us express ourselves freely, and they exposed this to them. So some people say, oh yeah, that's okay. if we do it like this, we can do it like this, right? They said, yeah, go ahead. So they let us have a Baptist church here. Then they said, well, you know what now? Up here, you know, we let you have a church up here, but you can't be as wild and rowdy or celebrate as much. So then they said, we call this a Methodist way, so it's going to be a little more calm. So they divided us even in that, in that aspect. If you believe in God, believe in God.
Right.
And do so. So